We want to make sure all of your plumbing lines inside are connected up properly. Don't forget when we winterized it, or if you winterized it yourself, there would have been things that have been disconnected. So we want to make sure they're all tight, so when we hook up water, we're not going to have any plumbing leaks anywhere. In the bedroom in the Springdale, we have got the water pump, and the water pump would have been disconnected on the suction side. So we're just getting in here and we're making sure that everything is nice and tight, all of the connections are good. And when we first put water through the system, we want to pay very close attention to this area just to make sure that everything is good and there's no water dripping anywhere at all. To be an RV tech, you need to be a little bit of a contortionist, and what we're doing here is we are underneath the kitchen sink and we're just making sure that all of the connections to the sink and any connection that we can actually see is nice and tight and snug before we put water through the system. We've made sure all of our connections inside at all of the accessible plumbing points are nice and tight. So now what we need to do is we need to put some water in the fresh water tank. We're using a non-toxic water hose, which is specifically for drinking water, and we're putting it in the freshwater fill. Now, when we're filling it up or we are hooking up water for the very first time, do not leave the unit unattended, because if there is any type of a water leak, it'll show up right away. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to flush the antifreeze out of the system, and I'm going to do that by turning the water pump on. We've already put some water into our fresh water tank, so I'm going to turn the pump switch on and I'm going to run each tap until it's running clear water through. Once it's running clear water through, we'll actually just let it run for a minute or two just to make sure we've got it all out of the system. And then we're going to repeat this process on all of our other taps as well. So we'll do that in the bathroom, on the sink, and we'll also do it on the tub, and we'll also flush the toilet until it's all running clear water through. This is the outside of your hot water heater, and what we need to do is we need to put the drain plug back into the water heater. It has been taken out for the winter time to allow the tank to drain. This is an Atwood water heater. It's a 6-gallon tank. If you do not empty it, it will freeze over the winter time and crack. Okay, so basically size of the plugs, what you need is a socket with an extension, and either 7/8 on the Atwood or 15/16. Now this one is actually 15/16. If you have a Suburban water heater, it's going to be either 1 1/16 or 1 1/8. So I'll just put these out of the way for now here, and we'll use our 15/16. And then with our sockets, very carefully going in there, we'll just snug it up. Before you can light your hot water heater, we need to make sure that there's water in the tank. So what we have done right now is we've flushed all of the antifreeze out of the system. We've put the plug into the water heater. Now what we need to do is we need to turn the bypass valve back into the normal flow position. We've turned the valve on the hot water heater back into the normal flow position, but keeping in mind the 6-gallon tank is empty. So I'm going to turn our water pump on, and I'm going to open up the hot tap, but what it's going to do, it's going to spit for a while. So really nothing's going to happen. We're going to get a lot of air coming through. It'll probably take about 3 to 5 minutes before that 6-gallon tank fills up. Once I get a steady flow of water coming out of the hot water tank, then I know it's safe to light from there. There's water in the tank. As you can see here, it's just spitting. You've got air in the hot water heater, and once all of that air is gone and you get a nice steady flow of water coming through, then we know there's water in the tank and it should be safe to light. We can also go outside the water heater and double check that there's water in it too before we light it if we're unsure. Just a very important reminder, as we are de-winterizing our system, we want to check our water pump and our various other areas to make sure there's no water leaks as we go. We've got all of the antifreeze out of our system and everything on the pump side is good. Now this is not something you have to do, but it's something that I like to do. I'm just going to hook up our city water connection here, And again, this is just because this is the first time this has been used this season. Outside, we hooked up our city water hookup. Now, right here is the city water hookup on the inside. So this is where the city water actually feeds our plumbing system. So as we're hooking up to city water for the very first time, again, I want to make sure everything is nice and tight, and as we're hooked up and we're pressurized, that I don't have any water leaks at all. We've hooked up our city water on the outside, and now we're just going to operate everything on the inside. So again, hots, colds, we're just making sure that all of the system works, and we're also going to check in all of those crucial areas that we talked about before, make sure that all of our lines are nice and tight and we don't have any leaks. Another good test you can actually do for your P-traps is you can actually flood your sinks. So I'm going to pull that plug, and as I do so, I just want to make sure everything is nice and tight and I don't have any water leaks on any of the P-trap. So it's draining out fast, and as it's doing so, just gonna put my hand on here and everything is nice and dry and I don't have any water leaks at all. We are back outside at the hot water heater, and if you're one of those people that want to make sure 100% that that water heater has water in it before you light it, what we can do is come over to the relief valve and we just give a very light pull on it, and as you can see, we had water squirt out of there right away. This is the top of the tank. I do know the tank is full now and it is safe to light. Thank you very much, guys. That is how you de-winterize your RV. If you do have any questions, we'd be more than happy to talk to you in our service department. Feel free to give us a call. Thank you.